Hey Fandom, it's me Aaron. This is a comic show best of 2012, where I'm going to talk about the 12 best books of the year in no real order other than Image's first because they're the best publisher of the year, then Indie, Marvel, and DC. Image's Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples is the best book of the year easily. This book has everything. It's romance, it's drama, it's sci-fi, comedy, fantasy, war. It literally is everything. I've shared it with my wife and she loves it, even though it is quite disgusting at times. A lot of issues open with just curse words and pooping. And I dig it. I give this book to anyone, offer a money back guarantee. No one's taking me up on it. If you try any book from this video, try that book. You will thank me for it. Image's Manhattan's Projects by Hickman and Pitara is alt history sci-fi at its insanely best. No one could come up with anything better than this. It is basically, the Manhattan Project was the cover story. The scientists were doing way worse stuff, and they had all kinds of scientists, Russians, Nazis, everybody, even a space dog. And it's the book that if you want your mind blown, if you want some crazy sci-fi weirdness that is tied to actual history, enough that it just makes it even cooler, this book's for you. I love it. Image's Revival by Tim Seeley and Mike Norton is a rural noir. It's sort of in the vein of Walking Dead, except, they don't have so much to fear from their fellow man. They have more to fear from, demons. The dead are not really dying. They're coming back. They don't want to eat your brains. They do kind of want to kill you. And it has this kind of rustic Bible Belt, weird Christianity, apocalyptical type of thing that is fresh, even though it's in the same type of vein as a post-apocalypse story. I suggest you check it out. It's wonderful. Image's Fatale by Brubaker and Phillips is their best work yet. They've done all kinds of crime books like Criminal and Incognito, and this one is crime horror. Now, how's that? The Fatale in the noir story, she acts like she has no soul, just using men, doing all these things. Well, she really doesn't have a soul because she sold that to a demon. There's your horror aspect. This book is on fire. They wanted it to be a miniseries, and they're continuing to do it because they're going where the story is taking them. And this story is awesome. You will like it whether you're a crime fan, a horror fan, or both. It's great. Dark Horse's Mind Management by Matt Kindt is insanely dense. These are single-issue stories that have this great mystery, this great mythology of this shadowy group that has manipulated humanity for who knows how long, who knows how many different events have been manipulated. Maybe all events in human history have been manipulated by them, but it's just so much with just densely written about ideology and politics and what it means to be a human in this world, that the overall mystery can slowly be peeled back like an onion, but you're enjoying everything. You're not just speculating on, well, what's the mystery? What's this? What's that? You're also speculating, I've never really thought about life that way. It's something that is so exquisitely done that it's insane that this guy hasn't really done single-issue stories before. He's only done full-length graphic novels, and this is absolutely enjoyed in single issues. Pick it up in the collection when it comes out in March, but if you can get the single issues, enjoy it that way. That's what I recommend. Top Shelf's Underwater Welder by Jeff Lemire is an amazing single-volume graphic novel. It is, yes, it has a weird title. It's Underwater Welder. Being underwater, being a welder, who cares? This is like his Essex County, which also, who cares about Essex County? You will have to read the book. I cried 3 times. But this is a return to that heavy emotional stuff. It's just like the main character is becoming a father. His wife's about to pop one out, and he's feeling underwater in dealing with becoming a father and in the loss of his own father. And as the anniversary of his own father's death approaches, he's more and more disconnected with his life and his feelings because he's never dealt with his father's death and the guilt he's felt over it. And the narrative device of him going underwater and coming back to the surface, time jumps from now it's the past, now it's the present, now it's the past. And this book is just, he's a master storyteller. If you liked his Essex County, if you like his Animal Man, or if you like his Sweet Tooth, you deserve to read this book. This book is just one of his best works. It rivals Essex County. It's wonderful. Valiant's Harbinger by Joshua Jassart is the best book they're putting out. They're a new publisher this year, and everything they're putting out is great, but this one is my favorite book. It opens with a character who can read people's minds, manipulate people, make them do things. He's telepathic, telekinetic. He's a genius, but he's also sort of insane. He sort of maybe rapes a chick, but, if you have to ask if it's rape, it's definitely rape. But since it was off panel, I don't know if they actually had sex. That's what one of the Valiant guys told me at the booth. But the character is crazy, and it has a chick named Faith who is robust. He's putting together a band of renegades, which really feels like this. It sounds so sacrilegious to say he's like Jesus, but he's putting together his disciples. He's going around, and he has this mission, and he's turning people, performing these miracles, and getting them to follow him to do some crazy stuff. And the Harbinger War is coming, and it's pretty insane. If you're going to try one Valiant book, and you should try a Valiant book because they are really on fire, try Harbinger. Yes, he might be a rapist, but he's really trying to make up for that. Boom's Adventure Time by Ryan North is one of the best books of this year. Yes, it's a book that's from a cartoon aimed at preteens and teenagers, but this is hilarious. Not only do they stay in line with the heart of the show and the humor and all the elements of the show, they do things that the medium of comic books does that a show cannot. For example, they have little asides in the gutter sometimes, which they couldn't do in the show because you'd be like, what is this, Saved by the Bell? Secondly, they have an issue that's choose your own adventure time, where you can interactively flip back and forth based on your choices. How can you do that with a TV show? Seriously, if you like Adventure Time, get this book. It is definitely a companion for you to enjoy Finn and Jake. It even explains why his name was Pin in the pilot episode, which didn't need to be explained, but hey, it was funny. He was really into pins. IDW's Transformers More Than Meets the Eye is one of the best books I've ever read. So much so that when I was turned on to this book a few days ago, I put it in here even though it makes it 13 books. I don't freaking care. This is More Than Meets the Eye best stuff. You think it's 12, it's 13. Wow. This book by James Roberts and Alex Maline has everything you could want through the eyes of robots. They're on an epic quest. They're discovering the meaning of life. They're discovering friendship. They're dealing with death. It's full of action. It has philosophy. It has religion. This book, it's basically Doctor Who meets classic JLI. Classic JLI and the humor and just all that ridiculousness, until all are one. This book is how Transformers works. I liked Transformers as a kid, but here's the thing that sucks about Transformers. Every time they're on Earth, there's these humans that are freaking annoying to me. Yes, you're supposed to relate to the humans. I don't care. Then you have these strangers in a strange land robots. Like, oh, humans are so weird. I see how weird we are because these robots don't understand all our social norms and mores. I don't care. I want to read about something where these robots show me what it means to be human. That blew my mind. You should try this book, Transformers More Than Meets the Eye. It is phenomenal. Marvel's Hawkeye by Fraction and Aja is insanely good. It's the best book Marvel's putting out now, the best book Fraction's ever done. David Aja is the same guy that was with him on Iron Fist, and this book is Hawkeye, what he does when he's not an Avenger. This book not only is fun single-issue stories of witty stuff that's topical, that's just in and out, lots of action, great dialogue, but it's a template for what should be done for a character's solo book. If you're in a big team and you're like the second stringer or third stringer or whatever you want to call Hawkeye, why should he have his own title? He should have his own title so that you can have very small stories that are meaningful, emotional, make you relate to the character. The first issue, a dog gets hit by a car and it's his fault. And he is that dog. He sees this dog as him. He is the guy that's the underdog of the Avengers, and he needs this dog to get better. It was his fault. And the dog's name Arrow, so what? It's a great book. You'll love it. I swear. I don't care if you don't like any of Fraction's other work. You will like this. I promise. Uncanny X-Force by Rick Remender is finished now. I'm putting it in here because all 6 volumes are done, and from beginning to end, this is an epic story that shows what can be done with company characters under a company like Marvel, where they want to restart things and and just mess things up and have crossovers here and there. Rick Remender started out with some characters that he had control over, and he did this dynamic character arc with Archangel. He used Fandom X, who no one else was using, so he could do whatever he wanted with him. He had a character arc with Deadpool, who, even if you hate Deadpool, on this team, Deadpool was fun. All he wanted to do was be liked. All he wanted to do was have friends. You know, he was like Michael Scott from The Office. He just says something outrageous, everyone hates him, and he's like, oh, what can I do to make you like me? And by the end of the book, he had a friend. Like, I'm telling you, this is amazing. From Archangel going to the Age of Apocalypse world, I'm trying not to spoil everything. He goes to the Age of Apocalypse world, then we have Age of Apocalypse characters following them back, and then we have this resolution where they start out where they're mutants that killer mutants going after mutant killers, going after the killers of mutants, and then finally we have mutant killers coming back after them. It's just the symmetry and the poeticness. This is just such a great run, such a great series. If you're tired of starts and stops of Marvel doing this and you like it and then they change the writer or they do this or they do that, it's a new #1, blah, blah, blah. Uncanny X-Force is just an amazing, epic run where a writer truly got to do something with these characters that was dynamic, and you can tell this is exactly what he wanted to do, and it totally worked. So whoever the editor on it did a really good job too. DC's Batman by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo is amazing. It's the best New 52 book, easily. I know it's Batman. I know it's like their marquee character, but this is Batman perfect. It started a little slow. Snyder has this slow build where he introduced the Talons, the Court of Owls. He introduced a new Owlman, and then after he did this amazing build where everyone was like, oh my God, this is so awesome. I can't believe that this new character is blah, 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 that I'm not going to spoil. Then Joker comes, and it's Death of the Family, where Joker is going after everyone in the Batman family, because Joker's like you. He thinks there's too many Batman books. He thinks there's too many sidekicks, there's too many hangers-on, and all Batman needs is the Rogues, Joker, Batman, done. And it's insanely good. This is the best Joker I've ever seen. His face, I'm sure you've heard, is off, and he just kind of belts it on his head. But if you've ever wanted to read a Batman that wasn't just this standalone story that was great, you know, there's so many good standalone Batman stories that are more or less in or out of continuity. This is the mainstream, main Batman book. This is the straw that stirs the drink of the Batman universe, and it's insanely good. I swear to God. It is the best Batman has ever been, and I've read Batman my entire life. And yes, I am 36 years old. I know I look young. DC's Animal Man by Jeff Lemire is their other crazy hit book that just came out of nowhere. I've always loved Animal Man, but a lot of people didn't. He came from the Vertigo stuff recently, which Swamp Thing also came from for this DC dark, horrific corner of the universe, which I like to call horror heroes. Swamp Thing was done by Scott Snyder, and Jeff Lemire did Animal Man, and these books organically melded together for Rot World because it's so, as organic as animals and plants, as chocolate and peanut butter. They just went together because they were both fighting the rot, the red and the green. And Animal Man, this character just works. He just works as is. I'm so glad when they rebooted him, they didn't try to make him like hip and modern and just, you know, like a young guy. He runs in a pack. He's an animal. He has a wife, 2 kids, and a mother-in-law. That's what he has, you know. This book is phenomenal. You will enjoy this. I definitely suggest that you read Swamp Thing with it. And if you really want a full picture of the dark corner of the DC universe, get Justice League Dark starting with issue 9. Jeff Lemire took over it, and he just continued to bring even more magical and horror elements from the Vertigo universe into the DC universe, including the books of magic and all kinds of crazy stuff that it's not crossing over with Animal Man and Swamp Thing, but John Constantine is a connecting character, and it's the same vein of bringing these Vertigo elements into the DC universe. I think you'd enjoy all 3 of them together. And those were the best comics I liked this year. Yes, there was 13, but you know, it's more than meets the eye. And there were 3 books that I really liked that I didn't include because there's only 2 or 3 issues out so far. My Little Pony, smash hit, right? Bedlam, I liked the first 2 issues. And Jason Aaron's Thor, this is shaping up to be just a epic run of Thor. But you know, it's just a couple issues in. So please share this video and tell me what you think I should have put in that I didn't, or argue with me and tell me what sucked that I put in here. It better not be Transformers though, because if you read that, you would agree with me. Thanks guys, bye-bye.